Hey folks, welcome to Module 2. In this module, our expert will cover the special tool we'll be using. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
All right, so here we are inside of the Get Emails account. This is the dashboard. All we're going to do in this module is click around and sort of, look at how things work in here and, how to navigate the site and ultimately get your pixel code and use the product by putting your pixel on your page. So this is the dashboard. Like I said, you can actually see the chart that indicates, your contacts that were acquired over the course of a given period of time. This here is actually a launch period that we had in November. So we had a product launch where we had a whole bunch of sales coming in. We had a whole lot of people coming to our website. And, as is usually the case, the vast majority of them left without doing anything. And that's always going to be the case on a sales page or on an opt-in page. Most people are going to leave without doing anything. And in this case, we actually grabbed a total of 728 of those contacts, which we otherwise would not have gotten. They didn't opt into an email list and they didn't buy anything. But we do have the ability to reach out to them and send some type of communication to them because it was grabbed here. Now there is, and they're showcasing it here, there is an ability with Get Emails to track your revenues, and that is by placing certain codes, more specialized codes on the pages of your website and indicating what they represent in terms of, a sale. So the success page after purchasing, a certain product might be worth $30. Right, and so Get Emails knows that after it lands on that page, or in this case, it actually integrates with Shopify, so it's probably much more streamlined than that. But basically, it can figure out based on people arriving on certain pages and their interaction with your website how much money was made, and that's pretty cool that you can track that inside of Get Emails. But right now, in this account, we're just using it to collect the leads, to collect the names, the emails, and the mailing address. As you can see here, a whole bunch of contacts collected. You can see that around the time of that launch in November, we had a huge influx of contacts coming in. And those are all people who we can now email market to. And they're all collected here in the downloadable contacts section. And what you used to have to do, depending on which plan you were on, was manually collect these people after a certain period of time. Now it's all real time, and you can actually come over here to the integrations tab, and you can actually integrate with your email marketing software or your third-party apps or what have you in order to automatically have the contact information sent to your various marketing platforms as they come in real time. So very, very cool that you can do that now. So you've got the dashboard, integrations, contacts. The next thing you've got is the code snippet. The code snippet. Now for the code snippet, this is pretty important. This is the most important aspect of this actually. This is where you're going to get the piece of code that you want to attach to your website. What you're going to do is you're going to come here to the Your Script pop-up that comes up, and as you can see there's no code in there yet because you haven't specified what type of code it is. What you want to choose for collecting is obviously collection, not suppression. Okay? Suppression means don't give me contacts who have been on this page, whatever page you end up putting this snippet on. Okay. Revenue tracking, like I said, is the more advanced thing where you're going to sort of get an impression of how much money you made based on people landing on certain pages and so on and so forth. So cool feature. We're not going to get into that right now. We're looking at the core aspect of Get Emails, and that is collecting emails of visitors. So we're going to go with collection. What you would do is you would grab this code, you would copy it, and then you would go over to your web page. And, depending on which content management system you're using, if you're using WordPress or ClickFunnels or Instapage, it's going to be different. But it's actually going to be very similar, the whole concept. And you've probably done this before. You've probably pasted scripts like a Google Tag Manager or your Facebook tracking pixel and so on and so forth. But basically, you'd come over to wherever you do that in your platform, and you place it into the appropriate tracking scripts section. It doesn't actually specify here which section to put it in, so I'm assuming it doesn't matter too much. The only difference here is the order in which things get loaded on your page, and in this case, that doesn't actually matter too much, I don't think. And so you could put it in the header section or in the body or in the footer section. You would paste that right here, and you want to make sure that it's not just generally on your website, Well, theoretically, you could do that if you wanted to. But what you really want to do is focus on which page you're going after so that you can, in your follow-ups, make references to the thing that the person was looking at, right? And we'll talk about the importance of the very unique style of follow-ups that you're going to be sending in the next module. But that makes it all the more important to try and use specificity with which pages you're attaching your script to, and then, use specificity again with the emails that you're sending based on which pages they visited and how you collected them. So, for example, let's say you've got a website, and one part of your website you're selling, drills, and on another part of your website you're selling glue, right? It's probably a good idea to set up a different snippet for each of those so that in your email you can mention the fact that they checked out your website and were interested in your glue, and then you can have a link in there that they can click on, which will allow you to measure their behavior and their interaction and so on and so forth, which we'll get into that in module 3 anyway. But specificity is good, is all I'm saying. Specificity is good. So having different ones for the different types of things that they might be interacting with on your web page is a good idea. But that's how you do that here. It's pretty simple, very simple, very similar to grabbing your Facebook retargeting pixel or your Google remarketing tags and so on and so forth. So that's the code snippets. Suppression lists, that's basically where you tell them that someone who's on this page is someone who you do not want to collect. And the most clear example of this would be basically people who get to your thank you page after opting into your list, right? And let me explain the logic here. So let's say you have a landing page, a lead generation page where people can type in their email address, right? And then you have the thank you page, or maybe it's a tripwire or an upsell page after that, whatever it is, the page that they get to only if they typed in their email address on the first page, right? If they get to that second page, that means that they already voluntarily gave you their email address. So you don't want get emails to grab their email in this other unique method, right? This unique approach to grabbing their emails. It's redundant and it can potentially cause problems. And so if they landed on that page, it means that you got their email address in the traditional way, so you don't need to collect it this way. Okay? Or maybe you do want to. You might have your own reasons. But the general prevailing logic would be that if you're already collecting them, you only get a certain number of contacts per month that you're paying for. You don't want to waste that on people whose email addresses you already got because they did opt in. You only want the people who didn't opt in, right? And so suppression lists is a way that you would do that. Let's see here. Trends, just a way to analyze and track your data. Event detail, that's for enable revenue tracking to track sales and ROI, it says. So that has to do with the the actual more in-depth and complex tracking to see the effectiveness of your traffic and the revenue that you're generating. We talked about that already. And then support. I know there's a throw out the manual mentality among many people in the internet marketing space. But in this case, because it actually genuinely is a novel and unique and new concept, which is not something that happens very often in this space. This is an area where you actually do want to spend some time. You do want to read through this. You do want to make sure you have a good understanding of how to do things and the why and the what, and make sure you're understanding this tool because it is new and it's unique, and that makes it all the more important. But that's basically a walkthrough of the Get Emails account area and how to set it up on your landing page. The most important part of all of this is how to follow up with these people, because it has to be done in a very careful and unique way. It can't be done in the traditional marketing way because they did not voluntarily, as far as they're concerned. Remember, legally speaking, they did because they consented to something in the past. But they did not voluntarily and specifically opt into your list in a way that they understand or remember. And so you really have to be careful and deliberate and handle this in a unique way when you're sending your first email to them. And we'll talk about that in the next module.